Her silence isn't empty. It's a sharp mirror that cuts. She watches without questions, complaints, or reactions. Her smile hides something older, colder, and deliberate. Every glance, pause, and tilt of her head lays invisible threads between you. And when you make the wrong move, those threads tighten like a trap. You think you are sharing moments, but she is charting your terrain. She doesn't probe with blunt questions or dramatic scenes. She touches the edges of your mind, with pauses heavy enough to weigh on your bones, with requests so small they almost vanish, with moments that feel harmless, but carry the silent gravity of a crown. Her art is not in demanding, but in observing how you bend without knowing you are bending. It is not cruelty. It is not even conscious malice. It is nature distilled through centuries, an instinct older than language. The weak obey. The strong bend the world to fit their will. She needs to know whether she stands beside a man who shapes reality or one who drifts like dust in the wind, surrendering his course to any whisper that reaches his ear. This is the cruel riddle of male desire. You believe you are building closeness, but she is searching for the points where you will fracture to please her. You believe your charm is weaving connection, but she is measuring whether your need for approval outweighs your own compass. You believe this is love, but in truth, she is mapping your foundation, marking every stone that shifts when touched. Love is a warm currency, but fear is the safe you keep it in. Respect is not a gift. It is a fortress built stone by stone in the way you move, speak, and hold your ground. The unspoken war is always there, and if you win it, surrender is not taken, it is given. You are deep in your work. Your thoughts are cutting through the fog, your focus like a blade. That is when she appears, her voice sweet as morning light, her smile dressed in ease. She leans perhaps on the table and asks for something small. Carry this upstairs? Check this for me? Make a quick call? Nothing urgent, nothing heavy. But the timing is a scalpel. She could have asked earlier while you were idle. She could wait until your mind is unoccupied. But no, she comes precisely when your energy is sharpest, your will most engaged. This is not about the task. This is about whether your throne is your own, or if the sound of her voice can unseat you. To a man who does not see the game, this is love's little service. He closes his laptop without hesitation, stands, smiles, follows her. And in doing so, he tells her, no, shows her, that her request holds more weight than his mission, that her whim can dissolve his structure, that the hand she waves is heavier than the crown he wears. She will thank him, maybe kiss him, but something ancient inside her will shift. She will no longer feel the quiet assurance that he is a man who guards his own gates. In that shift, attraction thins, not from lack of kindness, but from the subtle betrayal of self he has just performed. The man who understands, however, stays seated. His gaze meets hers without rush. His breath remains steady. I'll help you in 10 minutes, he says, voice calm, not apologizing, not cold. And in that moment, the message is clear. My mission governs me. Affection does not rule me. She may feel a flicker of irritation, but behind it grows something else, respect, and with it, the old hunger to follow a man whose course cannot be altered by a smile. She will walk away, but in her mind, questions will ignite. Who is this man who does not rush to me? Why does his refusal draw me closer instead of pushing me away? You are out together. The night flows easily. Then, without warning, she speaks a name, a man from her past, a shadow of an old flame. She doesn't linger. She lets it hang like smoke, then falls silent, eyes on you. She is not confessing. She is not boasting. She is casting bait into the water to see if your surface will ripple. If your ego is fragile, you will tense, question, dig for meaning. You will try to hide your sting, but betray it with your eyes, your tone, your too casual curiosity. And in that instant, she will see. Not your love, but your fear. Not your confidence, but your need for reassurance. But if you remain still, if you sip your drink, smirk, and let the name slide past you like wind through branches, you speak a different language. You tell her, I do not compete with ghosts. I am not in the shadow of another. I am the sun she now orbits. Her curiosity will turn inward. Why did he not react? Is he truly untouched by this? And the absence of your jealousy will become its own kind of presence, mysterious, magnetic, pulling her thoughts toward you like gravity. Then comes the coldness. Her message is slow. Her warmth fades. She retreats into silence, watching from a distance. This is the purest test, not of your love, but of your independence. Will you panic? Will you chase? Will you rush to patch the hole she has made in your attention? The weak will flood her with words, desperate for her return. The strong will let the silence stand, their focus unbroken, their energy flowing elsewhere, not to punish, but because their life is too vast to be derailed by one person's absence. When they do speak, they offer not pleas, but invitations. I'm here when you're ready. This is not coldness. This is sovereignty, and she will feel it. The more she pulls away, the more she will feel the shape of the distance, and the more she will want to close it. The room is alive with voices, the air warm with laughter, and the clinking of glasses. People lean into conversations, eyes shining under the soft weight of evening lights. She sits near you, her tone light, her expression playful, and then, without warning, she turns the attention toward you. A small jab, a teasing remark. It's harmless enough to those who hear it, but to you, it's something more. She has shifted the stage beneath your feet. In that instant, the crowd is no longer just a collection of faces. It's an audience. She's watching your every movement, not for the words you'll choose, but for the energy you'll radiate. This is not about the joke itself. It's about whether you will shrink beneath the public gaze or stand unshaken inside it. The man who falters will give himself away quickly. A nervous laugh that doesn't reach the eyes, a glance downward, a hurried explanation dressed as humor. Even the smallest crack in composure is a revelation. Here is a man who can be nudged off balance in front of others, who will trade the gravity of his presence for the shallow currency of approval. But the man who understands the game knows this is not a moment to retreat. It is a moment to embody. He meets her eyes without rush, without edge, and lets the corners of his mouth curve into a smile, born of quiet knowing. He doesn't explain. He doesn't try to turn the crowd back in his favor. His words, if he chooses them, are measured and light. I prefer my own mistakes. Then he lets the silence rest, unafraid of what lingers there. The room feels the shift. This is a man who doesn't need to repair his image because his image was never in question. The tease becomes a pebble that sinks without ripple. She feels it too. What she had hoped would expose weakness has instead revealed a wall that does not crumble under touch. And in that moment, she is reminded of a truth she cannot admit aloud. Stability is not loud, but it is irresistible. Then there is the most dangerous test of all, the one that doesn't feel like a test. You're alone with her. The air is quieter here, the noise of the world softened to a hum. Her eyes hold yours a moment longer than usual. Her voice dips into something softer, something almost tender. She asks, "Are you okay?" Or maybe, "You seem different lately." This is where many men fail without ever realizing it. They either close the gates entirely, locking away anything that could be seen as weakness, or they open them so wide that everything inside comes pouring out in an unfiltered flood. The first leaves her feeling shut out of a fortress she thought she was approaching. The second drowns her in the weight of his unresolved storms. The man who knows the deeper language of power understands that vulnerability is not the surrender of the strong. It is their chosen gift. He does not hide from the question, nor does he let it pull him into a spiral of overexposure. He reveals only what he chooses, shaped and sharpened. I've been thinking through some challenges, but I'm focused on where I'm going. In that single sentence, he offers her a glimpse inside without handing her the keys to the castle. She feels included, but she also feels the unshakable walls around him. His strength is not in pretending he is unbreakable, but in showing that even when the cracks appear, he decides how they are seen. And this changes her. She no longer sees him only as the man who holds the line, but as the man who invites her into the rare spaces behind it. The mix of strength and chosen softness is an intoxicating paradox, one that draws her deeper without making her feel burdened by his weight. In every silent trial, she has been searching for proof, not that you are perfect, but that you are anchored, that when the air grows heavy with uncertainty, you remain rooted in yourself. This is the current beneath attraction that few men see. She wants to know that if she drifts, you will not drift with her, but instead stand as the fixed point she can return to. The silent tests never truly end. They evolve, take new shapes, appear in moments when you least expect them. But the man who moves through them with calm authority, with the ability to open his hand without dropping the sword, becomes more than a partner. He becomes a gravity she cannot escape. And in the deep folds of her mind, where words do not reach, she understands. This is not about passing her tests. This is about becoming the man whose very presence makes them unnecessary.